Hey, what's up, friends? A little bit of a late start. Well, not that late. I mean, 7 minutes late. Not too bad. Welcome. I'm ThatChrisChaos, and this is Chaos Live, the sometimes weekly live stream that I do on here. We just came back when I was out to dinner. I was trying to get this all set up, and there was some stuff that was wrong on the configuration settings and all sorts of stuff. So it took me a minute to get it going. But we're going. We're up and going, and I know you guys are already active in the chat, so awesome. Thank you. Let's see. We got like Boss Man, Jared Brickmore, Harvey Nichols, Paul Abrams, which shout out to Paul Abrams. I'm going to talk about him here in a minute. Amazing person. We got Fred Castle, Charles Rivers, Skechers Kid. So all sorts of awesome people that joined in before I got a chance to get started and up and running. So thanks for coming in and hanging out and joining us for Chaos Live. If you guys have questions, feel free to leave them in the live chat. If you're watching this after it was live and it has now been processed and up on YouTube, you can leave stuff up in the comment section. So yeah, we'll hang out, we'll chat, talk to you guys about Army stuff, talk to you guys about questions and all that stuff like that. So there was a question I did see in there while I was trying to set stuff up. Someone asked me about my favorite sport or something like that. But the only really sport I watch is MMA, so I like watching UFC fights and all that kind of stuff. So, first one I want to talk about before we start answering questions and all you guys that way, amazing people over here are doing all this chatty chat stuff. I do want to show you guys that I've decided to give it a try. I'm going to give it a try and do a Patreon. I wasn't too big on it. I don't want to seem like someone that's trying to like beg for money, you know, so I'm trying to add some perks in there. You know, it's not a big deal if you don't have the money, you don't want to do it. It doesn't matter to me, really. I'm just trying to, I guess, add another level, I guess, to what I have going on here. I have these videos here that go on YouTube, do these live streams and everything, and that's cool for everybody who wants to check that stuff out. And then I wanted to have maybe just for those people who want a little bit more. So I didn't want the Patreon to be something where you just donate and that's it. You're just supporting me. I'm sure there's some of you that don't mind that or whatever, but I do. I mind. And I don't want that. So I wanted some kind of reward, I guess, for if you do want to do that. So different tiers and all that kind of stuff. So I have, you know what, I don't even know if I have it set up. We're going to try this out. I don't think I have the camera set up now. I don't think I have the camera set up for it. Maybe while I'm talking to you, I can do it at the same time. But there's some, I upgraded. I use a Stream Deck. The date on that's wrong, by the way. I didn't get a chance to change that either. The Stream Deck is all had to get updated, and so okay, I'm probably not gonna be able to show you guys the page. That's fine. But I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/ChristopherChaos, if you want to check it out. But there's some different reward tiers for it. I guess I can list them off since I can't really show you on here. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen them. But essentially, so you got the first level, which is $2 if you want to, you know, donate. But the rewards you get from it is you get the exclusive information via the Patreon feed. So I might put updates in the Patreon feed based on things that are going on, things that I'm not going to share with everybody else, only these people, as far as maybe, you know, things I'm creating or things I'm building for the channel. You also find out what videos will be next before the regular YouTube subscribers. So I will post like in the Patreon feed for those first tier people, which is called Chaos Soldiers, by the way. The Chaos Soldiers, the $2 tier, will be able to find out what the next week's video is going to be or later in the week's video. So I'll post what the topic is going to be, so you guys will get to find out about that before everybody else. So I'll have that available for just the bare minimum if you wanted to participate in that. The next tier is just $5, and it's called the Chaos Sergeant. That one, of course, you get the stuff from the Chaos Soldier, but you also get exclusive live streams. So I'll do live streams additionally to these ones. I'm not going to take away from anything I'm currently doing on the channel to make it free. Now you have to pay for that. That'd be horrible. But there'll be like an extra live stream or something that maybe I do like once, twice a month or something, where it's just those people can participate in that live stream. And I'll hang out with you guys and, you know, chat with you for that live stream, a little bit more personal, even though these ones don't have that many people, but maybe at some point, you know, it could get pretty crazy and out of control, and maybe, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But so you get that, as well as I'll probably post some like behind the scenes and little fun videos that the Chaos Sergeants will have the ability to see. So maybe a fun video, like maybe I have some cool Army memorabilia I want to share with you guys, or something cool going on that's Army related or related to my channel or whatever to me. And those would be just exclusive videos for those people. There's some additional little short videos. They'll be kind of like maybe like 2-3 minute videos, less, whatever, quick 30-second videos. I don't know. And then the final tier, I'm not getting too crazy with it just yet. We got someone at the door. My lights are blinking here, which I think I have that set for. No, so it works. Justin Dean, you set off my lights to make them blink, and that's because you're awesome and did a super chat. So I'll get back to you guys. Hang on, just 1 second. I'm gonna finish going over the Patreon. I don't want to think I'm ignoring the chat. I'm gonna get to the chat. I feel like I'm gonna be really far behind, but I'm gonna do my best. But the final tier is the $10 tier, and that one is to get everything from the Chaos Soldier, the Chaos Sergeant, and then this $10 tier is the Chaos Officer. And that's all the stuff, of course, before, with the short videos, the exclusive live streams. But additionally, I'm going to make it to where not every video that I do on my YouTube channel, but some of the videos, maybe half of them, I don't know yet, will be available to those people first. I'll post them online, and those people will be able to watch the video before it's live to everybody else on YouTube. So I'm kind of trying to stick to a Thursdays kind of schedule. So Thursdays we'll have the new videos, and those people who are Chaos Officer, which is the $10 tier, will have access to see some of those videos, not every single one, but some of those videos before everybody else will. So they'll get to watch that. So, and probably be able to comment, because it'll just be basically a YouTube video that's unlisted, and it's not public yet. So yeah, so that's the awesome thing. That's my Patreon. I have a link down in the description of this video. I'm going to add a link to my YouTube channel. Then I'll start putting in maybe future descriptions and everything like that. But patreon.com/ChristopherChaos. And I already have one awesome Patreon, which was amazing. I hadn't even announced it yet, because this is my first time announcing it, and it's right here. But Paul Abrams, you are awesome. With the very first one, just happened to find it. I think maybe I think he told me. He said he was just searching and found me, or saw that I had posted about it on Instagram. But very first one, you're amazing. You rock, and I'll always remember you as the very first Patreon participant. So thank you very much. Now I'm going to attempt to somewhat get caught up on this chat, because you amazing people are here for me to hang out, and I don't want to ignore you guys. But first, of course, Justin Dean, you're awesome. $5, you rock. So I'm gonna go to you first. So, hey Chris, just wanted to say thank you for all the good info on the Army. Really helped me out. Well, thank you, Justin, for watching my videos, and even donating $5, even though you don't have to do that. But it is still awesome, and I appreciate you just watching my content and come and hang out here for Chaos Live. So, people talking about some of the like stuff on the thing. Yeah, there's some people I know. So like when I post it to schedule, if you want to like it before it's even going, you can like it. I think it had like 5 or 6 likes before I even went live yet, so that was cool. Let's see. What are requirements for the Army? Google don't tell enough. Oh, what are the requirements for the Army? I have a video if you want to check it out. It's tough to go into all the requirements for now, but essentially like, you have to be usually over 18. You can be 17 with like a parent's permission type of thing. And then like you have to pass a physical and all sorts of stuff. But I do have a video on my channel if you want to look it up. I believe it's simply just called Requirements to Join the Army or something like that. And it's got some stuff in there. John McJunkin, what's up, man? Fred's got, hey man, I recently swore in at 88 kilo. Do you have any info on the MOS before I sign up? Not much info online, and YouTube videos are vague. You know what? I am not even sure what an 88 kilo even is, so I have to Google it just for a quick second. Just because I know some MOSs, but I don't know everything. A Warcraft operator so I have a moderator. I don't think he's in here right now. I don't see him in the chat, anyways. But I think he was an 88 kilo. I don't remember for sure if Richard Hansen, one of my moderators in the chat, was an 88 kilo. I want to say that sounds like something he was, but I don't remember for sure. If so, maybe if he joins the chat later, I'll ask him, and maybe he can leave some stuff in the chat, and maybe he can get some info. But yeah, otherwise, I've never worked with anybody that was an 88 kilo, so I don't know anything on that MOS. Charles Rivers says, I'm down to support you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Shipped this week. Want to thank you for all you taught me about the Army. Well, thank you. Good luck to you. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully basic training doesn't suck too bad, but it's not fun. Well, I don't know. Some people said they had fun. I didn't have fun. I thought it sucked, but you never know. Sometimes people have fun. Is there an MOS for thermal TB operator? AC-130? I don't know. Well, AC-130 is the jet, right? So that'd probably be something more for Air Force. I don't think it would be something for Army. I don't know, though. Anthony asking Air Force or Army. Same answer I give to everybody. It just depends on what you want to do. Some jobs are better in the Army, some jobs are better in the Air Force, some jobs are better in the Marines and the Navy. So it really just depends on what you want to do, I feel like. Let's see. While on deployment, did you try the native food or did you stick to MREs? Well, so you actually get fed really well on deployments. So they have usually like both deployments I was on, I think it was people from India. They were the cooks, and you have our cooks that are kind of do more stuff for like log packs to send food out to people who are at more remote locations. But the food, so you didn't really eat MREs unless you're out on mission. If you were back at the base on time or whatever, then you would eat the regular food, which was great food. It was really good. They had sometimes, I think Wednesdays most of the time was like steak and lobster and shrimp day. So you get fed pretty well on deployments unless you're at a remote place and then you haven't lived off MREs. And then as far as the native food, I didn't trust it. There was no way. Some of that stuff I looked at, you know, as far as the stuff I encountered, there might be places that have great food or whatever. It's not like you can go to any restaurants or anything, but there was times when like their Iraqi army or the Iraqi police would try to bring out some food that maybe they had inside the police station or whatever and try to offer it to you, and it looked like I was probably going to get salmonella from eating it. I don't know. So I never tried it. I knew a few people that tried like some of the chicken and stuff and just other little random kind of Iraqi foods, and they said it was okay. I want to say there was someone I talked to that said gave them like diarrhea, so they never trusted Iraqi food ever again, but I didn't try anything. I'm not a very adventurous person when it comes to food, so I'm definitely not somebody that's going to go and try some native food while on a deployment. My son has finished red phase and basic training in Fort Leonard Wood. I was expecting a call after red phase, but didn't. What's going on? It could be a number of things. It could be that, you know, the class is messing up and they didn't get to earn phone call privileges, because sometimes that can be a thing. So I guess there's a couple different scenarios. That would probably be my first thought, is that maybe because they do mass punishment a lot of times just to kind of teach everybody a lesson and try to get people to motivate each other to not mess up. And so it's possible that as a whole, the class, you know, wasn't doing well, so they didn't give them phone privileges. When I was in the Army and when I was in AIT and everything, in basic, you know, you didn't have cell phones. So they did have cell phones then, but they were the big, huge ones, and not everybody had one. So you had to use the pay phones there and use a calling card. And we would occasionally get to use phones, but it wasn't all the time. So a number of things that could be happening as far as when and why. Yeah, and then sometimes basic training drill sergeants, I see like the gamer's new friend. You don't get your phone. I never got mine. Sometimes they're different. The way they work are going to be different. Some drill sergeants might be stricter than other drill sergeants. They may allow soldiers, you know, going through basic training more phone privileges than others, and some other people might be a little bit more, you know, strict on how when and when not to allow them to have phone privileges. But it just could be a number of things. Do you know, or do you happen to know why ARNG and Army National Guard and Reserve soldiers are automatically considered soldiers as soon as they swear in? I don't know. I've never heard of that. I mean, I guess so. On that kind of related note, people, you know, say, you know, you swear in, you're really, I don't remember if it's then, I don't think it's until you actually arrive at basic training that you're actually locked into your contract. I forget. I don't want to, you know, give you false information. I don't remember. There's a certain point in the whole process that you're truly locked in. I can't remember if it's, because I swore in like twice. I swore in to kind of do it to the, what is it called? The IR, or not the IR, the inactive reserves, the delayed entry program. So the delayed entry program, I went to MEPS the first time and I swore in then, and I wasn't really officially in there, but they kind of make you think you are. And then I think it's not until that second time you swear in, just before you're off to basic, that you're officially locked in, or if it's like once you actually arrive to your basic training place, you're officially locked in. I forget. But as far as swearing them in, is, you know, as soon as you go to basic training, I figure you're a soldier. You know, I don't know if they classify it as sooner or later or whatever, but that's my opinion. So, finally caught you live. Thanks for the great info and content. Also, thank you for your service. Well, thank you, Will. Thank you for joining Chaos Live. I'm a little behind on the comments. Well, not too bad. So hopefully you're still in the room. Still here hanging out. How much do you have to lift in the Army? There's not really a weight. It's more of the how many push-ups and sit-ups and run you have to do, which is now changing to the new physical fitness test, where it's going to be a little bit different. And then there is going to be some weight events where it's going to be based on your MOS as far as how much you have to like squat and also and like drag for like the sled drag and all sorts of other stuff. But essentially, there's not really a set weight you have to lift. There might be some kind of set weight that they want you to at least be able to lift to make sure you're not like frail and brittle kind of a thing, but I don't know what that weight is. It's not like you have to bench press this certain amount of weight to get into the Army or anything like that. Will the Army pay for transportation if I get to take leave after training? After basic and AIT, when you go home, they pay for that. They will send you back to your wherever it is you're supposed to be going after you get done with your basic training and everything like that. And if you're going to be flying to your first duty station, then yes, they take care of that. Now, when you want to go on vacation and all that stuff like that, they don't pay for that. The only time they pay for that, I'm pretty sure when I was in Korea, pretty sure they paid for me to come back to the States, because that'd be super expensive, and I didn't choose to go to Korea. They made me go to Korea for not a deployment, but for a duty station. And I'm pretty sure I think that they paid for my flight back to the United States. So yeah. But yeah, after basic training and everything, they'll fly you home, and then they'll fly you to your first duty station. Then any other time for vacation is really on you, usually. Is infantry the fastest way to promotion? Sometimes. Sometimes other MOSs too. Now, as far as usually, you know, from private to specialist, E1 to E4, a lot of that is usually kind of somewhat the same across the board. It can vary based on different jobs, because they tend to somewhat promote certain other MOSs a little faster than others, but it's still kind of the same standard. Now, once you get past that, E4, you go to E5 and E6, those require points. And the points are based on your MOS, and so certain MOSs have lower point standards and require less awards or less, you know, military education, less civilian education to make the next rank. And a lot of times, like Infantry 11 Bravo, have usually a lower point standard for getting to a sergeant or a staff sergeant. And then certain other MOSs have a higher point standards. And a lot of that's usually based on the numbers of people in those ranks, in those positions, and they'll, you know, adjust it. So if they need a lot of people to become a sergeant, then the points will be pretty low and usually a little easier to get. Where if they already have a lot of people that are sergeants, then they don't need that many sergeants, and the points are usually higher to make it harder to become a sergeant. So like in my situation with me being an 80 at Mike, it was kind of medium for me to make sergeant. It wasn't too bad. I had to have some military education points and some awards points and everything like that to be able to make it. I couldn't just make sergeant off the lowest standards. And then to make staff sergeant, though, the points were really high. So I practically needed, at the time, like an associate's or a bachelor's degree, probably like an associate's degree, to be able to get moved up to the next rank to make enough points. And I didn't have enough time to be able to really, you know, go to school and do all that things. So I didn't have time to be able to do all that kind of stuff. So I didn't make staff sergeant, even went to all the schools and everything, but I didn't have enough points to actually make it. But it just depends on your MOS a lot of times. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Oh, do you know Shoot 'em Up 89, aka Matt Ward? I do not know him personally. I think I have maybe had a short conversation with him in maybe some comments or whatever, but I don't know. I have not. He has got good content though, but I don't know. Is basic training on certain days as soon as you enlist? No, well, you mean like as far as what you're actually doing the training there? Is basic training on certain days? Because essentially like when you're in basic training, it's mostly usually like 6 or 7 days a week, because you'll do Monday through Saturday. Sunday doesn't necessarily mean like you're off and you can go have fun. Sunday is like you have to go clean the hell out of the barracks, and if you're going to church, you go to church, and everybody else who's not going to church is, doing some kind of detail, doing some kind of, scrubbing the floors and cleaning the bathrooms and all sorts of other stuff. But then sometimes you're doing some training on Sunday afternoon and stuff, but that just kind of varies. But yeah, definitely, if that's what you're talking about, definitely don't expect having weekends off in basic training. I want to do an electrician job, and I am starting high next year. What should I do? There is a Army electrician. I don't know what the MOS is called, without having to try to Google it and do some research and find it, but there is a job in the Army to be an electrician. Ever worked with sailors? I have not. I know I have a couple of friends that are sailors or were sailors and stuff, but I've never worked with any to really know anything about it. Are you still counting the things where you talk about different... Oh, am I still continuing the things that I do for different MOSs? That's the plan. I know I haven't done it. My friend that was in 11 Bravo, which is supposed to be the next one, has just been really busy. We got hit with a really heavy hailstorm in the area of town where he lives at, so his house got kind of a little bit messed up in his car, so he was spending a lot of time having to talk to insurance people to get his house fixed and get a new car and all sorts of stuff. And then he went on vacation, I went on vacation, and all sorts of stuff. So we've just been super busy. I haven't really had a chance to link up to be able to do it. But yeah, I do still have the plan to try to continue doing some of that. I've just been really delayed on being able to create those videos. So sorry about that. I apologize. Does every mom travel the world? I'm guessing maybe MOS. Pretty much. For the most part. I mean, you can get you get deployed or you get sent to another assignment. So how often that is just varies. Keep the amazing work with your channel, man. Thank you, Luis. Landon, how's it going? What's happening? How many miles did you have to run? Well, for the PG test, you have the 2 miles, but when you're just working out with your platoon, your squad or whatever, doing physical training in the mornings, that can really vary. Sometimes that's, 4 months or 4 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles. It really just varies. Usually you're not doing anything like 2 miles or anything. It's usually always more than 2 miles, it seems like. Well, not always, but most of the time. It's very rare that you're only just doing a 2 mile run when you're working out. So, while I was in Korea, I would not eat the meat product off the post. I never saw a stray dog on the streets. Yeah, it's very dangerous. You got to watch out for that kind of stuff. I would eat like some of the food when I was in Korea. I would eat the bulgogi, which is just beef. I forget what else. They do like serve dog in certain areas of Korea. From what I understand, it's actually really expensive, really chewy, and kind of like a delicacy kind of a thing. But like I said, I'm not adventurous with food, so I never tried anything like that. What if a civilian wants to join the Army, but they don't know how to swim, and they are trying to be a grunt? I wouldn't worry about it, because there are a lot of people in the Army that I knew that couldn't swim. The Army does not require you to swim like the Navy does, and I think the Marines might even have to have you swim, but Army does not require you to have to swim. There was a lot of people I knew that didn't know how to swim, so you'd be okay if you want to join the Army and you don't know how to swim. I've even done like training stuff like with the Army to learn how to turn your pants into a flotation device, and if we had soldiers that didn't know how to swim, they did something else, and the rest of us that did know how to swim would go do that training. So I've talked to a couple of veterans who handled a Beretta 9mm, and basically it's a hate-love relationship. Your opinion about the Beretta? It's okay. I mean, I don't have any issues with it. It worked fine. I didn't use it a lot. The only time I ever used it was in Korea. So the little bit of interaction and utilization of the 9mm from the Beretta one was fine with me. So I didn't have none too bad. Let's see, what kind of underwear do you that they give you in boot camp? I don't know if they still do it, but it was basically like kind of like the briefs, those really small ones, and they're brown. I don't know if that's still what they give you, but I think you have a little bit more flexibility now on wearing those or wearing commercial ones, as long as they're like a plain color, a solid color, not like zebra stripes or leopard print or anything crazy like that. I think they allow you to just kind of rock whatever, boxers or briefs or whatever. But I know when I came in '99, they gave me like these, kind of like the tidy-whitey style, but they were brown. How do you keep up with the new Army information? Well, I currently work with the Army still, so a lot of it comes from that. Some of it comes from just stuff that I see online. So a little bit of mixture of things. I mean, because I still work on Fort Carson, training soldiers, teaching them how to use a system called the JCR, which is like a fancy navigation tracking system and reporting system. So I talk to a lot of soldiers. I still know people who are in the Army and stuff like that. So that's kind of somewhat how I kind of keep up with it, from working with soldiers and friends, and then just news that comes out online. Going to talk to a recruiter next week about joining the infantry. Well, NASCAR 222, good luck to you. Hopefully it works out. John asks, Chris, can the Army hold a person back in basic training or IT if a private gets severely injured from attempting an obstacle and doing it the way the drill sergeant said? Yes. If you got injured anyway, whether it's something that everybody else was doing or whatever, they're basically going to put you on like limited duty. You're going to get stuck with a lot of just detail stuff depending on the injury, I guess. And then once you are all better, then they're probably going to put you back into AIT or basic, wherever it was you left off on, if you can't continue doing stuff. So like if you're in AIT, some of the stuff is classroom stuff and they may allow you to keep going through when you're injured. Basic training would be a lot harder to be able to do that with. So if you're injured, they're gonna wait for you to recover. And if you weren't able to continue doing basic or AIT, then you're going to just fall into the next class that, picks up where you're at. So if you got injured, say on week 3, right, and you weren't able to go on to week 4, once you're done recovering from your injury, and as soon as the next class catches up to week 3, you're going to end up joining in with them and then continue basic from there. So it can really depend. There was a guy, he he got injured because, this is when I was in Fort Benning in 99. Sorry. He got injured because some guy tried to kill himself and tried to jump off of this huge ledge that was there in basic training, down into the chow hall at reception. And this guy tried to kill himself. He jumped off the ledge and landed on another guy that was down below waiting in line to get into the chow hall. Broke both the guy's legs. That guy, it wasn't his fault that his legs got broken. This guy fell on him or landed on him, and he was stuck in reception for several months. There was people I talked to that when I got to my regular duty station or to AIT, and they were like, oh yeah, I went to basic training at Fort Benning, and then started telling that story. And they're like, we saw that guy. He was still on crutches or whatever because both of his legs were broken, so I don't know how long his recovery time was. And he was still waiting to recuperate so he could start basic training. So he's getting that person. If that happens to someone, you're still going to get paid. And then if the injury isn't severe enough for them to medically kick you out of the Army, then you're just going to end up continuing on to wherever you need to left off from. So yeah, you can. It's called being recycled, as I think Wheelchair 54 is about to say right there in the next part of the chat, as I'm still catching up through here. Crap, I just scrolled through and lost my spot. Oh man, hang on. I try to keep up with you guys. This chat, this one's a little busy. This live stream is a little bit busier than normal. I get, according to the count right there, 35. Live right now, 36 watching now. It's a little bit busier. So usually I only got maybe like 10, 15. It depends. So my live streams aren't super hopping. Trying to get caught up though, because I try to like answer all your guys' stuff. Batman is cooler than Superman. Batman's cool. I don't know about cooler than Superman. Can you go to air assault school as a split op soldier? Pretty much anybody can go to air assault. I don't think they require any specific MOS or any specific stuff for air assault. That one's offered at a lot of locations, not like airborne school, where airborne's just at Fort Benning. Air assault's offered at a lot of places, so it's a lot easier to get air assault. It's still fairly easy to get airborne too, but air assault's a lot easier. If an ROTC in high school while a freshman, what rank will you be after enlisting after senior year? So if you go all the way through 4 years of ROTC and you join the Army, you can probably come in as a private first class, an E3. Is a 12 Tango a good MOS? I don't know what a 12 Tango is. A technical engineer. Probably. I guess if you're into that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't think I've ever met any 12 Tangos. So I don't know for sure. Do you need a high school diploma to join the Army? No, you can get it. You can get in with a GED. Sometimes it will limit you on like what MOSs you can do if you only have a GED, but you can join the Army with a GED. Yeah, like some of the people here are saying later in the comments that you can GED or high school diploma. High school diploma usually just gives you more options. Let me see where we at. Some of these are just answers, so I'm just kind of scrolling through to pass some of the people who are being very helpful and answering some questions to some people. Oh man, sorry about that. Hold on. I always forget about this damn thing. Are we gonna get the camera back up? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the camera back up. Sorry, technical difficulties. We'll resume in just 1 minute. Please stand by. So I use a Canon 70D, which doesn't want to stay on all the time. So I have to usually press buttons on it, and I got a little bit behind and forgot to press the buttons to keep it refreshed. So now I got to refresh it manually. We get it back? No, we didn't get it back. Give me just 1 second. What if I change cameras? Let's try changing to this guy. Nope, not changing that guy. Well, damn, guys. I'm sure you can still hear me though, can't you? Let me try to fix this little issue here, and we'll get this back underway. But right now, I have lost the camera. Such a fail. Such a fail. Right now. I don't have the camera on here. Sorry. Trying to get the camera to pop back up, but it's not popping back up. So, you know, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. And hopefully I can get this back up and running in no time. I'll try to still see if I can answer some questions as I'm going through, even though you guys can't see me. I hate that. Sorry, it sucks. Let's see. I'm trying to jump through. Thanks for the information. Well, thank you, Nerd Guy 25. Sorry, you guys can't see me. What is the weight limit in the Army? I don't know. I don't think there really is a weight limit. What if you have minor record or police record, such as bullying? Can you still join it? As long as it's probably not a serious offense, you'll probably be able to get away with stuff. Some stuff will probably require like a waiver, but no. Sorry, such a fail. I can't get the camera back, guys. I don't know why the camera is not popping back up. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let me see if I can get it through here. Oh, gosh. All right, we'll try it this way. Sorry, I'm trying to get it back up. Sorry, it's going to go black so that I can bring it back. Look at that. All right. Let me crop this. God, man. These dang technical difficulties, yo. They'll kill you. So, a little behind the scenes here. Here's how I have my camera view set up. So I'm using OBS to capture a window that shows the camera. And then I manipulate that window so that it will fit inside of the screen. And that, my friends, is how this ends up working out. Why is this not fitting in there exactly? Oh, okay, there we go. And then we'll crop this down. And then we go like this. So welcome to the tutorial of how OBS works to be able to use a Canon 70D that's not probably shouldn't be able to do this, but through a little bit of hacking, not really hacking, but through a little bit of work, does work this way. And then we get everything back and up and running. And I just need to remember to every now and then press a little button on my camera so it doesn't go to sleep on me next time. I apologize. Technical difficulties. Hopefully if you watched it afterwards, maybe just fast forward through the technical difficulties. Now let me get back to you awesome people in the chat. Sorry if I skipped some. I think I was right around here somewhere. What do 11 Bravos usually do throughout the day when in their duty stations? So David, the guy that I'm going to be using for the 11 Bravo video, he's going to tell you possibly that you do a lot of crummy details and a lot of trash pickup and a lot of other horrible stuff because, 11 Bravo's main job is infantry stuff, kicking in doors and doing raids and all sorts of stuff. And you can't do that, if you're not deployed. And so, I think he says that you don't do much of anything. You're just kind of doing a bunch of crummy stuff. So that's the gist of it. Might be a lot of training. You can probably do a lot of I forget what they call it like a shoot house, but it has no walls, and so you just have usually the outline taped on the floor or something, and you go through and do a lot of training, a lot of practice. So lots and lots of training, but also lots of picking up trash and horrible stuff. So what job would you choose if you were to join the Air Force? Ooh, I don't know. Probably like anything. If I was going to go back in the military, because I like doing video stuff, I'd probably do video related things because they have that, and they have people that work for the Armed Forces Network to do like TV and radio and stuff like that. So I'd probably do something like that. Thanks, Chaos, for the information. Oh, I think I already got to you. I think I'm skipping some stuff. Is the training for the Ranger tab and the 75th Ranger the same? No, it is not. I have a video on Ranger stuff, on training for become Ranger qualified, and compared to joining the 75th Regiment to go through assessment or selection. And so it is very different training. Can you go Army boot camp at 17? Yes, but you have to get parents' permission, I believe. And you have to be old enough that by the time you complete all of your training, you will have turned 18 before you go to your first unit. Hey, thanks for making the best military videos ever. Well, thank you, Nicholas. Thank you for leaving the best comment ever. Jay the Vorn, welcome. I am so far behind on this chat, I think. I'm going to have to skip through so I can try to catch up a little bit. I apologize. If I, at any time during this live stream, miss your question and you have something really cool, I am not on the right window. God dang it. We're going to stick to this. I'm sorry you guys can't see. I didn't even realize that I was setting up the wrong camera for the wrong little template. So you guys can't see the live chat. I'm sorry. But if you're watching this post live, you can see it over probably there to turn it on. So, such a fail. This is what happens when you rush things and you don't have things properly set up. Thank you, Jay the Vorn, for joining in. So yeah, if I missed your guys' question, please come back to the video after it's processed, leave it in the comment section, and I will definitely be able to get to it then. How are you able to keep your beard since you still work for the Army? I'm not actually in the Army anymore. I just work with the Army as a contractor. So you can almost do whatever the hell you want. But I do have to maintain a security clearance. So like Colorado, marijuana is legal. And because I work for the government and have to hold a secret clearance, I am not able to, still do that kind of thing. So those kind of things apply to me. But as far as facial hair and all that fun stuff, that stuff does not matter really. So that's okay for me to have a beard, which would be good because I would be really sad if I had to lose my beard. Sorry if I'm changing stuff on here. All right. So, first from Hawaii. What's up, Brandon? Let's see here. Hang on, I was trying to fix some stuff in here. Let's see. A ship out August 7th. It'll be 19 kilo tanker. Would you know where tankers usually get stationed? That can be anywhere. It's just somewhere wherever they have Bradley tanks and all that fun stuff. So, well, not Bradley tanks. That'd be scouts. But like Abrams tanks. How hard do you have to be an SF member? Pretty hardcore. It's a pretty hardcore thing. Wait, do you know how easy it is to get promoted in the Army? It depends on the job. Chris, restart the stream. I know, it was really horrible. I'm still catching up. Okay, we're going to skip through because I'm really far behind on some of this stuff. So I apologize if I skipped some of your guys' questions. Does the Army change you for personal, or does the Army charge you for personal items like uniforms, PT uniforms, boots, and receive in basic training? No. All that stuff is just kind of part of your initial issue. You charge for that stuff. And then later, in your Army career, you'll get clothing allowance to be able to kind of like refresh some of that stuff. By the way, the date right here is wrong because I didn't get a chance to change this before coming back from dinner and starting this live stream. It is, don't worry, it is not the 13th of July if you're watching this live, and this was not streamed on the 13th of July. I studied mechanics, and it is based off of your credits you earned. Yes, sure. Chris, are CAV armor officers looked down upon if they don't have a ranger tab? From what I understand, I know infantry kind of has that kind of whole thing where if you're not like if you're not ranger qualified and you're in the infantry, sometimes they look down on you. But I don't know like how that works. I've just heard it from like other people that they say that you know, if you're not ranger qualified and you're in the infantry, then you know you're not a good officer and all that stuff like that. But if anyone here is a fan of animation, the YouTube channel, oh, you're just promoting? Come on now, can't be in here promoting. That's fine. People want to read it. You want to go find out some other channel? Fine, just leave me. Hey, Chaos, about to head to Fort Benning in September. Glad to have your videos and other YouTubers for some insight. Well, thank you. Good luck to you. Hopefully Fort Benning treats you well. That's where I went to basic training, so it's a lot different though back in, you know, now compared to 1999. So can give you really good insight on Fort Benning. How is it for foreigners joining the Army? You know, somewhat difficult. You'd have to have at least a green card, and then, you know, clear a background check. And then at some point in time in the Army, you have to, you know, be able to get your citizenship. Or I think they kick you out. But yeah, you have to have at least a green card, and then go through a background check. And then once you pass the background check, then they'll allow you to go off to basic and all that stuff. And you have to do active. You can't do like National Guard, and you can't do reserves. You have to be active. What do you mean by Army contractor? So it just basically means the Army pays a company to do certain things. Like, so for example, our contract does a lot of training, and so the Army goes and, you know, will award a company, which in my case, the main company for the contract is a government agency or a government contractor called Northrop Grumman. And so they get paid from the Army to pay employees, and they get funded that money for the contract. And so I am a contractor for the Army, but work for a company, a private company. So work for, you know, training soldiers for the Army, but I don't directly work for the Army. I work for a company that gets paid from the Army, though. If that makes sense. Is it true you need to get a haircut every week? It depends on how fast your hair grows, because essentially the standard is the hair can't be touching your ears, can't be touching the back of your collar. I'm not sure exactly what the reg is, but that's kind of the best way to justify it. I mean, you can have a little bit of length on top of the head as long as it's not too crazy, but mostly like the sides and the back of your head has to be pretty short, so that way it's not touching your ears and not touching your neck. So if your hair doesn't grow very fast, you may not need to get one every week. I would usually probably every Sunday cut my hair usually. Some people around the same, or maybe every 2 weeks. So it just really depends on how fast your hair grows to keep up with Army standards. What is the process behind getting a security clearance? Do you need one in the military? So a lot of jobs in the military require a security clearance, not all. I mainly ended up with a security clearance because I was stationed at the JSA, the Joint Security Area in Korea. And to be there, you had to have a clearance. And, you know, it's a very expensive process for a civilian to get one. But, you know, I don't know if the Army gets a discount or how that ends up working. But and then because I just have a secret, not a top secret, I have to every 10 years, I believe it is, every 10 years get a renewal on it, which is a little bit of a lengthy process of going through an interview with a security person, where they review everything about you, your credit score, your finances, your past, where you've lived, all sorts of stuff that they sit there and go through with you, and to make sure you're still good to be, you know, trusted with a security clearance. So it's a little bit of a lengthy process, and you have to go back like your last 10 years. I think if you're doing top secret, it's like last 20 years, or it might be 5 years for secret and then 10 years for top secret. I don't remember, but it's a pain, and it's very expensive to do it as a civilian. So luckily mine was able to just transfer from when I had one in the military over into my civilian job. So it worked out pretty good. Chris is a contractor, high-speed job. High speed, low drag. Yeah, sometimes. It's a good job. It's fun though. Heard you have to get a haircut every week for JROTC, possibly. Is frontline medic hard to get in? So just like a combat medic, if you just want to be a combat medic, what is that, a 68 whiskey? I forget. But no, I mean, as long as you qualify, I don't know what the minimum standards are for like ASVAB score and everything for a medic. But I wouldn't, no different than a lot of other jobs, but I don't know what the requirements are for getting in, like what the ASVAB score would be for a medic. Let's see. Do every MOS get a gun? Did you ever kill someone or be in any situation where you almost killed someone? Sorry for the question. No. Everybody has to qualify with weapons. So what weapon you have to qualify with, it just depends on your MOS. Like tankers have to do like 9mm. A lot of other MOS is just the M4. Not necessarily so much the M16 anymore. I think it's pretty phased out with the M16. And most people are, if not everybody, using the M4. But you have to qualify with the M4 if you're deployed. That'll be your primary weapon. So you're walking around all the time with an M4. Certain senior leadership and officers and tankers and stuff will walk around with a 9mm. And then as far as your second part of your question, have I ever killed anybody? No. Have I ever been in a situation where I almost killed anybody? Not really. There was maybe like 1 or 2 times where I had to do some warning shots for like vehicles following too close to our convoy. But nothing too bad. So no. I was lucky enough never to be in some of those situations where, stuff was really hitting the fan or anything. Even though I had a very dangerous job of being on the road all the time and had the risk of roadside bombs and all that stuff like that, I was very fortunate to never have to really encounter any of that stuff to any crazy extent. I had a few minor things here and there. They weren't too bad, but nothing super crazy. Let's see, what JROTC branch are you? Oh, you're asking somebody else that. If you enlisted after your first contract, do you still have to go? Do you still have to go individual ready reserve? Oh, the IR. If you don't complete 8 years. So you're even if you do a contract in the Army for 4-year contract, you're still obligated to the Army for 8. You may get out after those 4 years and go off to do everything, but you're still obligated for the inactive reserve, and you might get called up to have to attend some class or attend something else once in a great while. And then if something really goes down, and you could get called back to duty, and then after 8 years, after those additional 4 years are over to make your full 8, then you're done with your obligation. Now, if you served 8 years or more on active duty, then you get out. You don't have any obligation to the inactive reserve, which was like me. I did 10 years, so after my 10 years, I was free and clear and done and out of the Army. So, Marine Corps JRTC, what will recruiters tell you when you tell them you want to join the Army? Are you talking about, I don't know if you're answering someone else's question. Is the ASVAB hard? Not super, really. I mean, it's just basic stuff. Math, English, some applied science stuff and everything. I'll probably do a video eventually on the ASVAB, but I got a lot of other priority videos to still kind of work on before I probably get to the ASVAB one. But at some point in time, I'll have to work on doing an ASVAB video. You ever have to? Oh man, I lost my spot. I scrolled a little bit and it like jumped to the very bottom. Something about the D-Lab. I'm asking if I had to take the D-Lab. Or that, oh yeah, you ever have to take the D-Lab test? I'm currently trying to enlist, and I have to take it for MOS series. I was looking at the 35 series. I have not. So if you're not sure, you're not familiar with what the D-Lab is, it's basically like a language test to see what language you'd be best suited for learning. I have not. I've never taken it. I don't think I have. I've never taken a D-Lab test, so I don't know what to expect from it. I was told if you pass the fitness test and pulmonary functions test, it's possible to get a waiver for asthma if you're off your inhaler. Do you know anyone with asthma waiver? I don't know if I know anybody with an asthma waiver. I think I've known some people that had like a mild case of asthma. I don't think they had to carry around an inhaler though. I don't remember for sure. But I don't know a whole lot about like a asthma waiver. Really waivers too much anyways, but yeah, but yeah, that was kind of the thing. Scroll through some of these people answering questions, which is awesome. History and regulation question. I don't know. Let's see. If the Ranger and a Pathfinder during World War II were able to sport mohawks, then why is it not allowed now? I don't know if they were allowed to do it. It might have just been a situation that they probably just got away with it. I don't know. I don't even know if that was a thing that was allowed back then. Of course, it's not allowed now. Well, it's not. No, it's not allowed because it would be, even though you can kind of keep it short, it's considered like a fad type of thing. You're not supposed to have anything like that. They could be like a fad, which would be like a mohawk. I've known some people that have kind of somewhat pulled it off. They kind of disguise it a little bit, but you have to be a little tricky with that. So I don't know why you'd be able to get away with it back in World War II. Maybe they weren't as strict on it as they are now. How high do you have to get on the ASVAB for a combat medic? I don't know. It's probably a really easy one to Google. A lot of times Army.com has, is it GoArmy.com? A lot of times can tell you that kind of stuff for like minimum standards for different MOSs for that kind of a thing. It's pretty easy. When you were in basic training, where did we go? When you were in basic training, were the workers in the defect military, cooks, or civilian? I think a combination of both. Even like on the post installations, usually it's like that. Usually it's a combination of both civilians and soldiers working together. In basic, though, actually in basic, I want to say it might have been all civilian. I don't know if I saw any soldiers that were cooks in basic. I think they were all civilian. Oh yeah, Chris, combat veteran, is contracting in Iraq. YouTube was screwing around with his income. That sucks. That's no fun. Yeah, I remember you were telling me about, you heard he was doing some kind of contracting or something in that last live stream. You can get information from the Army site about medic. Yeah, just like I was saying, 68 whiskey. Have you ever encountered a military police officer? Yes, I have one or two friends that used to be military police officers. Good guys. They had a good time. They didn't transfer to. Well, there was one guy. He told me that he got out of the Army and he tried to be a police officer, and he says it just wasn't the same as when he was a military police officer in the Army, and so he said he kind of hated that. So he ended up doing something else, but it's a different kind of thing. He just didn't feel like they had that the other officers had his back the same way as like when he was an MP in the military. What vehicle did you drive? I drove a lot of vehicles. I drove PLSs, LHSs, LMTVs, Humvees, a lot. I was the 88 Mike, so I drove a lot of like large trucks, mostly doing transportation and stuff. And up to a certain point, and once you start getting a little higher in ranking and leadership, you're more of the truck commander, the passenger in the vehicle, and just kind of making decisions. Most people don't realize the main score of the ASVAB, but you guys are answering questions still. Sorry, I'm trying to weed through to figure out which ones are answers to people in chat, which ones are actual questions that people have. So if I accidentally skip over actually skip over like something, then I'm sorry. Man, what do you got going on here? Jumpman Keel, Chris, I like that fit of your shirt. What? It's a good shirt. It may be a little bit tightish. It's it's actually, I think, supposed to be a workout shirt, but I didn't work out or anything today. But it makes it look cooler. It makes the S for Superman stand out a little bit better. It's a little bit tight-ish, but God, start fashion stuff now. Let's see. Did you ever have to choose between Army or the Marine Corps? No. I kind of was choosing between Army and Air Force, but the Army recruiter was a little bit more persistent than the Air Force guy, so I just ended up going Army. My friend is joining the Navy this coming September. He is doing EOD. Yeah, that's dangerous. Dangerous job. Trying to defuse bombs and roads and IEDs and blowing them up and all that craziness. When is the Army going to make a new assault rifle? I don't know. I don't know if they will. M4 works pretty well. So I don't know if they'll ever switch to anything other than M4. When you're deployed, do you get to meet soldiers from other branches of the Army? From other branches of the Army? I don't know what you mean from branches of the Army. I mean, you meet a lot of people with other jobs and other units and all that stuff like that. I've met other people from different branches of the military, as well as even other countries. Like when I was trying to remember where it was, we had some people from Australia, I think it was, maybe. I forget what it was that we did a few things with and met some of them. If you were a Marine, what job would you want to get? Probably, like I was saying earlier when someone was asking about the Air Force, probably something to do with video production. Do something with AFN, with Armed Forces Network. It'd be fun. Either any branch, I guess. I mean, probably be easier in the Air Force. I don't know. So there's option 40, guarantee you a spot in RASP. But then what? Are you made to join the 75th? No. So if you go through the whole process and you qualify and you get selected, then you go to 75th. If you go through the whole process and you don't get selected, because you can go through the whole school and pass. And if you just weren't cut out, you know, the instructors didn't feel that you met the requirements they were looking for to the level that they wanted or whatever, they may not select you and take you into the Rangers. And you're just going to be whatever that MOS was that you did. If it was 11 Bravo, then you're going to go, you know, to a regular unit and be 11 Bravo or whatever the case may be. Because Rangers, you can do a lot of MOS. It's not like Special Forces where you're a Special Forces person. You know, in the Rangers, you can be an 88 Mike like I was. You could be a medic. You could be all sorts of MOSs, and you'll just go to a regular unit and you just won't be in the Rangers. So if you don't get selected, you don't go to the 75th. Let's see, Chris, how often are people granted admission to Army language school? It really just depends on your job. If you have a job that doesn't require that kind of a thing, they're probably not going to send you it. Sometimes you learn some basic stuff through some stuff on post and everything, but for the most part, you know, if your job doesn't require you to learn another language, they're probably not going to send you to the language school. Can you join the Army if you have autism? Probably not. I don't know the extent to that, though. Maybe it just depends on how much the case is. I don't know. That'd be more of a recruiter kind of question to be able to find that kind of stuff. I'm not too familiar on medical stuff, so I don't know all the answers when it comes to medical things. But I do my best to give my input based on stuff that I have seen and everything. Lost my place again. Fun. All right. So again, sorry if I skip your question because I lost some stuff. What was your MOS? I was an 88 Mike. Combat veteran said the best fried chicken is in the DFAC in Iraq. I liked the shrimp. Well, I used to like shrimp anyways, but I don't know. We had a cool sandwich bar when my second deployment when I was in Baghdad. That sometimes like between lunch chow and dinner chow, if you're gonna be out on mission, you could hit up the DFAC for just a sandwich bar, and it was almost like Subway. It was pretty sweet, and so sometimes I like getting Subway like sub sandwiches from the DFAC. It was pretty good. How do you qualify for airborne? You go to airborne school at Fort Benning, Georgia. You either get in your contract when you enlist in the Army, or when you get to your first duty station or wherever, then you request to put in to go to airborne school and attend it there. I had to have a video on airborne school. How well must you speak English to join the Army? They have a basic test that you have to do. And if you can't pass that basic test, then you're not going to come in. But there's people that I know that like maybe came from, you know, other countries into the Army, and they didn't speak very well on English. I mean, they spoke enough to get them by, but sometimes they had really thick accents. Sometimes there were certain words they didn't understand. And it's rough for those people because certain things makes it harder because they don't understand it quite as well. But, you know, as long as you can basically read and write it, I think they'll allow you to go through the process. If you have a little bit of problem speaking it to a certain level, they'll still allow you to come in. But if it's too bad, then I don't know. Yes, I don't know what the, you know, kind of full-on standards are, but I've seen people in the Army that didn't speak that great of English. I mean, they spoke enough to have a conversation with you, but, you know, sometimes the wording wasn't properly structured. Is it hard to get in if you're colorblind? Nah, it's going to limit you on some of your jobs. Like I was red-green colorblind or whatever. I don't remember what the specific one is. So it limited some of the jobs that I was able to get when I joined. But that's all it's going to really do to you. It's going to limit your ability for certain MOSs if you are colorblind. Is it hard to... Oh, I already read that one. I saw it twice. All right, you were making sure to get that question in. All right, cool. But hopefully that answers your question, though. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through some of the stuff that you guys are just answering questions. The Army is receiving a new assault rifle in 2022, I thought. I don't know. It might be possible. I don't know if I've heard about anything like that, but possible, maybe. Were you ever in an active combat zone? Yes. Both times when I was deployed, I was in Iraq and stuff was going on. I mean, not, I don't know how like heavy you could say, but I was in Iraq, you know, not during the initial part of it when it was really crazy because I was in Korea at that time. But then the next go round was a little bit, still, you still had a lot of roadside bombs and a little bit of stuff here and there. But by the time I was in Iraq, the Army had already captured Saddam and all that stuff. So things had mellowed out a little bit, but it still wasn't safe, you know. But I was, you know, in Iraq. So the first time I was in Iraq was during, 2004 to 2005, was it? No, 2005 to 2006. And then again from 2008, no, 2007 to 2009, because that one was a 15-month deployment the second time. So we're getting, we've just hit the hour mark. So I'm going to try to weed through some of these questions here, and then we'll cut it off. So sorry if I didn't get to your question. I'm going to weed through a few more through here, and then we'll have to end the live stream because I usually just kept these to about an hour. I know some of that got taken up by technical difficulties, and I apologize. I'm sorry for that. But, you know, we'll do another one of these probably next weekend. So be sure to come back next week, and I'll try to schedule either for Saturday or Sundays. Saturday or Sundays is probably going to be the set days that I do them. So it just depends on what's going on Saturday compared to Sunday. This Saturday I was supposed to do it, but I was shooting video for my friends in Save and Able because we're working on a DVD together. And so I was shooting footage for them. So I wasn't available because I had to shoot, you know, Save and Able footage. So I was doing that at a rock concert, having a good time. So I'll go through some more questions though. Let's see. Did you earn a tab, airborne, mountain? I didn't do anything extra when I was in the Army. I was a little bit, I guess, lazy to that extent, so I didn't go to any schools. I was a transportation guy, so I mean, a lot of the people in that kind of MOS really just do it for fun, you know, not because it's really necessary for the job. They just do it because they want to, and I really didn't have that much of an interest. I almost thought about going air assault because I thought that might be kind of cool, but I didn't end up doing it. Well, why was the restroom in the Army called the latrine? I don't know. It's a good question. Somebody can Google it. I don't know the answer to that, though. Let's see, what ASVAB score do you need for infantry? ASVAB scores, I don't know anything off the top of my head, but you can usually easily find those out from goarmy.com. If you try to, you know, do a Google search or anything like that and, you know, click on the link from goarmy.com, you'll probably find that out. Let's see. Do the Army, JROTC get OCP or ACU? I don't know. I guess you might be asking one of those guys in here that's talking about how they're in JROTC and stuff, which if so, I don't know. I'm going to start my first day of high school in 2.5 weeks. Good luck to you. Basic common training harder than it looks. Is basic training harder than it looks? It's really just about, it's physical, obviously, but it's mostly about just doing what you're told. If you just do what you're told and give it your all, then it's not bad. It's not fun. For me, it wasn't. It sucked. But being hard, there's moments that are difficult, but for the most part, it's just, I don't know, tiring. Let's see. Scrolling through, we'll do a couple more. How do you transfer to new jobs after you finish your first contract? You reclass. It's called reclassing. So you would go and you would talk to it's called a career counselor. So it's not a recruiter anymore. Your career counselor for your unit is kind of the responsible person for you if you have to re-enlist and all that kind of stuff. And you would talk to them about what MOS you're interested in. And you would re-enlist for that MOS if it was available to you. And then from there, you're going to go off to AIT, which AIT for someone who is already in the military and reclassing is a lot different than, you know, if you're brand new in the Army. You're going to be still doing AIT with the other soldiers, but you're not going to have to do like the crazy formations they have to do. You don't have to live in the barracks. You're going to be assigned like these little dorm kind of things where the other people who are maybe reclassing or coming back in the Army after being out for a while, and then you're just going to be told to be at class at this time to go do the training. And so you're just going to be doing the training with the other soldiers that are fresh out of basic and into AIT, but you're not going to have to do a lot of the crummy stuff that those guys have to do. So it's a lot more flexible, but you can do that if you qualify for a job. Jay the Vorn, thanks for hanging out. If you're already gone, then sorry I missed you. Thanks for hanging out. And let's see, we'll do one more question. What do we got in here? Trying to see. What are some ways you can get promoted in the Army? Not getting in trouble. Taking some military classes. If you get a chance to take some civilian education classes, do that. That helps for higher ranks, not so much the lower ranks from private to specialist. But really, it's just, volunteering for stuff, working hard. And if you do that, then your leadership sees that you put a lot of effort into things, and they will, recommend you for promotion maybe earlier than certain other soldiers. We have to wait a little bit longer for their time requirements. Maybe if you were one of those people who pushed really hard and always volunteering to do stuff and getting things done, then they might promote you at the bare minimum, the earliest they can promote you. Where if you're someone who doesn't, put in the extra effort and put in all that extra work to volunteer for stuff and, give it your all, they may make you wait until maybe, somewhere after the bare minimum. They're not just going to promote you at the bare minimum requirements to get you promoted. So yeah. Can you do more live video? So this will be a weekly thing. Normally weekly, just depends on what's going on the weekends. But Saturday or Sunday nights, you can join again for Chaos Live. So this is going to wrap it up because we're just over an hour just now, and I try to keep these about an hour long. So thanks for hanging out. Thank you. You rock. You guys are all amazing. Again, I do have the Patreon up. So patreon.com/ChristopherChaos. There's a link down in the description. I'm going to leave a link on my channel so you can be able to get to it. And those people will have exclusive live streams. If you are the second tier, the Chaos Sergeant or a Chaos Officer, then you get a little bit more perks. So check that out if you want to read about it and see what kind of perks they're offered. If they're worth it to you, cool. If not, then you still get these live streams. These live streams won't go away. My regular videos won't go away. So all that stuff will still exist. Just extra stuff that's not currently normally here will be available to anybody who wants to participate in the Patreon and all that kind of fun stuff. So thanks for watching. You guys rock. Make sure, if you haven't already, hit that like button on this video. Maybe after this live stream ends here in a minute, a couple seconds, go check out one of my other videos. See if there's something maybe you missed, maybe something that's interesting to you. Otherwise, hopefully see you guys again live for another live stream. And if you are maybe a part of that Patreon thing, I might do one here real soon before the month closes out. Thanks for watching. Christopher Chaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.